Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Honey Never Sleeps, a podcast all about sales, marketing and business in general. Today I'm joined by Mo from Freakout, one of the regional leaders in growing and building new products over at Freakout. So really excited to hear about programmatic advertising and everything else you've got to share. Why don't you first introduce yourself to the audience?
Hey, thank you, Ben. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. And hi, I am Mohitosh. I am an ad tech professional that has been in the industry for about 12 years. I have had multiple roles over the past 12 years, right from sales to business development to operations, key account management, etc. But at this point in time, I'm sitting in front of you as the regional director for new business, programmatic, and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a father, and that's been the last 1 year has been consumed with a lot of mixing of business with managing the family life balance as well. So yeah, it's a challenge.
We're on that same journey, my friend. It's very challenging to try and have that work-life balance properly.
Yes.
Because now you actually start to think about work-life balance a little bit more. Before I was just like, life, work, it's the same thing.
Right. And now you're following someone else's schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, not your own. not your own. So, you've obviously been in a lot of different roles. Walk me through that. How's talk to me about your career a little bit, leading up to what you're doing now.
I actually started off right in my high school. I was actually a science student. And in India, when you are a science student, you have mainly two parts that you can take.
Okay.
Either something related to being an engineer or computer science, or then the other one is a doctor.
Yeah.
Right? But pretty soon I figured out that wasn't for me. So luckily, my graduation I did a bachelor in management studies, and that's where I think I got in love with the marketing as a whole.
Okay.
And as soon as I finished my graduation, I was actually surrounded with a lot of digital media. There was a lot of streaming that I was doing in terms of watching some shows, etc. And that's when I realized how surrounded by digital ads we are. And that led me to my first role back in India in the online advertising space.
Mm-hmm.
From there, I think I just kept on chasing the next big thing. So from online advertising, I went to mobile advertising. From mobile advertising, I went to performance advertising in general, but specific to mobile applications. Then from there, I moved into a programmatic role at Freakout, and I've been there for 5 years. Right now, I am doing a little bit of everything, but mainly, I think the next big thing now is contextual again. Right. So I think that's where we are heading.
So what made you fall in love initially? What ignited that passion? You said you were streaming, but what really made you fall in love? Was it like a moment where you watched just an ad and you're like, holy crap, this is amazing, or what happened?
I think it happened pretty much while I was running some of my first few campaigns, right? So till the time that I was a student, all you do is read theory. But and you fall in love with it, right? Because marketing is the art of persuasion. It has got a very it's got a pull where you are in a role where you need to convince people about what you are doing, how your product should be, how the pricing should be, etc. The 4 P's of marketing, etc. But when I actually got hands-on into doing my first digital advertising campaign, I knew I had found the love of my life, because you can see the numbers happening. You can see it's addressable. I think that is one keyword that was missing from our textbooks. Right, because marketing, you can get a general idea, but with digital advertising, you have a very clear idea of where you're heading, what you're doing, what numbers you're bringing in. And I think as a person, I like to see those numbers come in.
I like to quantifiable.
Right. I like to, in the morning, I would get up like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, open my dashboard, look at the numbers for the last day, and that really makes me happy. So I think that was a moment where I'm like, okay, this is something that is definitely here to stay. Is the future, because we are surrounded by digital ads, as I said, and it brings us to a whole new realm of what can be done in terms of sending a message out to the general population, right? It's not one-to-many anymore. It can be one-to-one. And I think that passion has been growing ever since.
Wow. Good. You threw out something there, the 4 P's of marketing.
Right.
Tell me what the 4 Ps of marketing are.
Place, product, promotion, and price.
Got it. And as you've kind of started to, I guess you fell in love with the numbers. Is this something to do with being a potential engineer?
I wouldn't say so. I do think I have a very, I have a mind that is quite number driven, but I don't think I fit in as an engineer. I do like to play with things, I would say, but I think it comes from the love of numbers as a whole. I think all through my school, high school, I've been quite interested in math, in numbers, etc. But I think sales, or what I started off with, was with sales, and sales brings the love of numbers together with the art of persuasion, the art of actually doing business, driving business, creating solutions for problems that your clients have.
That combo of the art and science.
Right.
Yeah. Is that kind of why? So let's just stay on the numbers a second, because you're a leader in your role, and you've been leading teams for a period of time. I lead a marketing team as well, and they're creatives. They're passionate artists.
Yes.
Did you butt heads with a lot of people over that? The creative versus the science side, that art versus the science. Did you ever butt heads, especially being so quantified, so number driven?
I mean, I think that happens. That does happen. Initially, I think when I was on the sales side, more so than not, I would butt heads with the operations or the creative side, because that is where your views don't always match. But as I said, over the last decade or so, because I've had the chance to work across multiple roles and have had an experience that goes through, from the base up onwards, right? My foundation is quite strong when it comes to digital advertising. Hence, I understand the requirements at different roles. Now, I still do butt heads with the creative side sometime, but more so than not, I can actually put myself in their shoes, explain to them if there is something that needs to be explained. If I do not agree with them completely, I will try and reason with them as I would have liked someone to reason with me. And in some cases, I do change my mind as well, because I think creative process cannot be restrained. I am a firm believer in testing, multiple testing. You will not know what works or what does not till you try it at least once. So A/B testing is definitely something that I push, not only in terms of business, in terms of creatives, but in terms of everything in life. I think giving everything a shot. I mean, you should give it.
A/B test boy, girl.
Not right now. I have my hands full for now, and if there was certain outcome, then I would probably go that direction. But there is no certain outcome right now.
Before we talk about sort of programmatic advertisement education in that, kind of want to understand, can you break down really simply what programmatic advertising is?
Sure. All right. So programmatic advertising is nothing but two machines talking to each other about what should be the right ads to buy for a brand.
Okay.
Now, let me break it down one more layer by saying that traditionally, the way that online advertising has worked is that there is an advertiser and there is a publisher, a website where they want to show an ad.
Meta or whatever.
Whatever, right? Now, the goal is that the advertiser wants to show their ads on the publisher's website, and the publisher wants this ad because that is how they will make money to keep creating content. Programmatic advertising is just facilitating both of these sides, but through technology, right? So now an advertiser cannot go to each and every publisher that they want to advertise on. And the same thing goes for publishers. They cannot go to each and every advertiser that is spending. So they have different platforms that are in the middle, that are sitting in the middle. The advertiser has a platform called the demand side platform, which is a platform where they set up their advertising. The DSP. And the publisher has an SSP, which is a supply side platform. And there is Ad Exchange, which is a marketplace for different DSPs and SSPs. That's the very basic, very core setup of digital advertising right now. And when you set certain algorithms into the DSP to buy traffic from multiple SSPs and multiple publishers based on the individual users that are coming onto the publisher's website, right? When you see attributes about the user and you target them specifically, using technology, using preset algorithms, that's what programmatic advertising is.
Okay. And so there's a lot, there's a lot of options when we're thinking about advertising. There's a lot of ways to go. I know there are a lot of business owners, and particularly small businesses, they'll just play and test, and they'll spend some money, and they'll typically lose, and they'll say Google isn't the right path for me, or advertising doesn't work. You know, what challenges have you faced, especially within your role, and of course at Freakout, in terms of educating the market about programmatic advertising and getting them to consider this as the right path for them?
Right. So I think advertising as a whole, and digital advertising especially, is a very fast changing field. Right. It's a space that's constantly evolving. It's a space where there are constant innovation. I mean, if you were to think about it, right from 1995 till about now, which is a span of about 28 years, we have had multiple revolutions in the digital advertising space, right? From PC advertising to mobile advertising to addressable advertising to programmatic advertising, right? And it's a constantly ongoing evolution. So I think in order to educate my teams, I need to first understand what's happening myself. So I need to be updated with the trends. I need to know what's happening, because programmatic advertising is quite a broad spectrum of things that can happen on programmatic. Programmatic is just a means of buying ad, but within that space, there is everything that's a lot is going on, right? You can now target users on the basis of their demographics. You can now target users on the basis of where they are, what they're doing, what their likes and preferences are, what websites they have been to in the past, right? You can also have advertising on billboards now that is going programmatic. So your digital OOH, which is the billboards that you see outside, but the digital screens, they are now becoming programmatic. So they will show the right ads depending on the time of day, the kind of people that are passing by, etc. So there are a lot of innovations. In order to educate my team, I think first I need to be updated with what's happening. Once I am, once I identify trends, once I identify what are the key innovations that my team needs to know about, I do pass that along. But I also encourage my teams to do their own research, to do their own, knowledge gathering, because if there is something, every market is different and every market has different innovations. So if there's something that's happening in, say, Philippines or in Vietnam or in Singapore, I would like my teams to also, it should be a two-way communication. And if they have any kind of problems understanding or meeting the core fundamentals or understanding how that is happening, that is where I come in. Right. As I said, my goal has always been to build a strong foundation and build on top of that. Because of the strong foundation, I have a basic understanding of the concepts. And I think breaking down everything to the basics is the best way to approach any kind of learning.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I actually recently saw this campaign. I don't know if you've heard of ClickUp. It's a SaaS company, mostly around project management and things like that. They were wanting to work with sort of big corps in the US, and they ran an ad campaign where they used the digital boards in the center of New York. And it wasn't really trying to do lead generation. It was just to show them that they existed and that they were big enough to buy an ad in like Times Square. Right. So that when procurement got their contract, they were like, yeah, this isn't a startup. This is a legit company with sign. So I found that as a really interesting campaign. I wonder if they leverage things like programmatic advertising to kind of to determine, yes, our audience will be walking past at 8:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, not just making assumptions, but like leveraging that data.
Right. And not only that, you brought up a very interesting point, as in they wanted to be quite specific as to when they show the ad. Like earlier, you could only buy Times Square if you bought like an entire day or a particular hour. With programmatic advertising, I can show as less as 5 minutes. I pay only for the 5 minutes. So it is a very economical way and efficient way of showing an ad. Now, how much or what kind of research they did in order to decide what time their ad shows or how many times their ad will show or when what triggers their ad to go up, that is what the programmatic side will cover. So they can just basically have a very simple instruction saying that the ad should go live between 8 and 8:05, then again from 8:15 to 8:20, and then again from 8:30 to 8:35.
At 12:30 as they're coming out for lunch.
Exactly. Whatever their research has. So it is a tool that has to still be used. So you're not, programmatic advertising is not replacing the marketer, it's enabling the marketer to actually do their job better. Right. And the back-end core market research, everything still remains the same, right? The legwork still is there. You do need to have everything in place and utilize programmatic advertising the best possible way.
Yeah.
I'll actually share a very funny example.
Sure.
Right. So back in, so I used to work in Singapore, and in Singapore, our office admin used to buy groceries for the entire office, as in the office stock. Every week. Now, she used to do this on an app called, it was an online ordering app. So it was an online ordering app that she used to order this from. And eventually, she started seeing some pretty crazy ads, and a lot of time. One time, I just happened to check on the back end, because I had a device ID and I wanted to see what kind of, I actually saw that the CPM, which is the cost per 1,000 impressions for her device ID, because she fell into a premium tier, that someone who buys hundreds of dollars worth of groceries every week, right? So the machine classified her as a high value target, and the CPM to target her was about $250.
Oh wow! So this is just the office admin, and they're trying to sell like premium groceries to her as a person.
Yes, because she buys hundreds of dollars every week. So it can go right or wrong. You need to basically understand that data still needs a human vetting. Right. So you need to basically see what makes sense. Do you want to target, if you want to target travelers, you have a different way of doing that. If you want to target someone who's a shopper, you need to have a different approach to that. So programmatic advertising, as I said, is a tool to just I would say do the best with your campaign.
So obviously, like you said, it's fast paced. There's always innovation.
Right.
Thinking about the future of programmatic advertising, and kind of flipping it to some new trends, obviously Gen AI, way people are searching for things now, the way people are looking, making their own decisions as they go to Bard or ChatGPT or wherever and they go, tell me.
Yes.
Right. How do you think that's going to impact advertising in general?
It has always been impacting, because people have always been typing and searching for things online. It's just a different medium now. So your AI is actually just another tool to explore. But this is exactly what people were doing when Google came out, when Yahoo came out. A lot of people use Google just to answer their biggest curiosities. I mean,
99% of search is just consumer search.
Exactly.
Random information.
And a lot of it is then product information about things that they already know of. But I think what people have, or what online companies have tried to do with this, is to understand the psyche, the kind of person that the user is, on the basis of what they're searching, what they're looking at. This, though, is something that is coming into a little bit of light, right? Because now there is a whole new conversation about privacy versus personalization. Right. And I think that has been one of the hottest topics in the last 1 year, and it's something that's going to continue for another couple of years, because there are a lot of laws that are coming in about tracking individual users. There are a lot of things that companies are doing in order to refrain from tracking individual users, and there's a lot of science that goes behind storing and keeping the data about a user and how that makes them feel. Users want their privacy, but they also want personalization.
So I wonder if they use, this might even be controversial, but do users really want their privacy, or do they think that they want it? Because let's be honest, we tick those boxes of privacy terms and conditions without ever reading them, not really caring, knowing that Meta and everybody's selling our data. We know, and we still sign up and click, and we don't think about it. So I wonder if it's more, if people are caring because they're told to care, as opposed to actually caring.
I think they do care. Right. Because
I guess I don't care.
I'll be quite honest. So I'll be quite honest. I know that there are it's a spectrum of caring, right? So again, even the privacy versus personalization is probably a spectrum where you say that, okay, some people are going to be more inclined to having less privacy, but more personalization. And some go as far as saying that I don't want anything personalized, that's fine, but I need 100% online anonymity, right? So when I have the same conversation with people, they're like, no, I don't think people are really tracking me. I'm like, just open your phone, go to the permissions tab and see how many apps are tracking your location. And not all of them need to. So you can personally go and turn them off. And people do that. People do turn their location off. But as soon as there's a new update, the app gets updated, the permissions get updated, and they don't go back. Right? So they do care when you actually point it out to them. So it's not just something that they what they think they care about, they do actually care about it. But a lot of times people are so, I would say, engrossed with what they're doing on the app rather than what the app is doing to them, that they let it be.
Yeah.
But now the lawmakers are coming in.
Yeah.
That's where things are getting serious, because enough and more people have said that they want privacy. So now there are laws like GDPR.
Yeah.
Then there is the CCPA, which is the California, similar to GDPR, but in California. And the same thing now they're planning to bring into Southeast Asia. So I think what matters now is that companies need to make sure that they are doing everything not to offend people. Because even if it's just a user perception that they want privacy, if something comes out in the news tomorrow saying that XYZ company is tracking user data, the company is not going to have a very favorable position. So it does matter.
Yeah, and then like the compliance factor starts to come in as well. If the government is dictating that you need to be compliant, you need to have the systems in place to enable you to be compliant.
Correct.
Yeah, and which complicates things for businesses as you're, change management in big corp is like the longest, slowest, depressing experience ever, right? What else do you think is happening to programmatic advertising? What do you see how this is going to impact the digital space over the next 5 years, and how advertisers are going to adapt?
So as I said, I think contextual advertising is going to be the next big thing again.
Yeah.
And the reason I say again is because contextual advertising was always a thing.
Yeah.
Back in 2011, when I started my career, I think one of the first companies that I worked with was a contextual advertising company, right? They used to have a very dated product, or it still exists, so I don't want to say much about it. But they used to highlight certain keywords within articles, and when you hover over those keywords, ad pops up, which is related to the keyword.
Yeah.
But it is not very accurate, because you can have article about snowboarding accidents. The word snowboard is highlighted. You hover over it, and they're selling you a snowboard.
You're reading about breaking your legs and on a snowboard. Like, hey, do you want to buy one?
So that is, I think, where the market is heading, because I think the answer to the privacy versus personalization paradox is contextual. Because when you're consuming some data, when you're consuming some content, you are in a better frame of mind to accept more things about what you're reading. And if you can target the right user for what they're reading and show them the right ad related to what they're reading or watching or consuming in any form, that's how you can actually make the most impact without compromising on their personal data. Right? So now you are not going after PIIs, which is personal identification information. What you're going after is what they're doing at that time.
And there's still a lot of companies that are doing what you said, PIIs.
Yes.
Because I'm getting some really weird advertising lately. So I'm not a rich person, but I get advertisements for private jet chartering.
Right.
I recently got an ad for, so if you have a yacht, you park it, you place it in its, whatever it's called, the dock. And there's this, you can park it in this special little bucket to stop barnacles getting onto the bottom of the boat. I'm getting advertised for that product. I don't own a yacht.
Right. But, okay. So now this is the tricky part about digital advertising, because they don't really want or know everything. They know certain things, right? So
a job title.
You are, so first of all, I don't think you are native Malaysian, right? So you are from a different country. So you're working here as an expat, right? So they tag that.
So they assume.
So your first level of, you're an expat, right? Second, you travel a lot for work. So they see you at the airport a lot, right? So they are just tagging small parts of information, and they're trying to code all of that together. And create a persona.
5 people out of the 10,000 people send that ad to who actually could buy a chart.
Exactly. So they're creating an online persona of you based on certain triggers that have or must have happened in the past. You might have had a conversation online or something about someone going to Cannes, which is the Cannes festival, and there are a lot of yacht parties over there. Something.
I have mentioned a few times that I want to get a yacht one day.
Right.
That's my retirement plan. I'm just going to live on a boat, sail the world. So I probably said that to my phone, and now I'm getting yacht.
Technically, that should not have been an actionable thing, because still there are laws against recording or having the microphone on without the permission of the user. So that would not be an official trigger. But yes, it might as well be.
Well, we'll pretend that it wasn't a trigger. So tell us a little bit more about Freakout. Obviously, you're in this space. You're innovating here. Tell us a little bit about how you guys are adapting to the changing market and how companies are leveraging you guys.
Right.
Yeah.
So Freakout actually started off as a DSP in Japan.
Yeah.
It was the first DSP in Japan. And as you know, the first of anything in Japan means big money.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
So Freakout launched, was founded in 2010. And then in the next 4 years, grew a lot, made a lot of money, and got listed in the Tokyo Stock Exchange. After getting listed, we decided to kind of expand into the Southeast Asia markets. But in the Southeast Asia markets, we wanted to enter as not as a DSP, because that was not a very accepted as a you're talking about
custom.
10 years or 8 to 9 years back, DSPs were not a thing in Southeast Asia.
And there's not many early adopters in Southeast Asia,
Correct.
right? Unless in Singapore, but yeah.
So we launched as a native ad network, because native advertising was, I think, the main. It was something that was growing. It was something that was actually doing pretty well. And we have always had, our goal has always been to avoid banner blindness. I can talk about banner blindness as a concept. So banner blindness is now, a lot of people are accustomed to where ads appear and they automatically block it subconsciously.
Yeah.
So that's called banner blindness. In a lot of cases, you will automatically filter out the first 3 results in Google, because you know those are going to be ads.
Yeah.
In a lot of websites, you already know the bottom is going to be an ad, the side is going to be an ad.
As a YouTube ad, you're waiting to click skip. You're not
Right.
even watching.
So you're subconsciously blocking all of these, right? So native is a way that we got to give users a more integrated feel into the look and feel of the website. So our ads were integrated into the look and feel, so it did not look like an ad.
So like it wasn't Google AdSense.
Right. It was. It looked more native to the platform,
The content.
to the publisher.
Yeah.
Then in 2000, so I was brought on in 2018. My job was mainly to take these 1,000+ publishers that we have as native publishers and add more capabilities. So Freakout has always been quite agile, and our goal has always been to go where the users are.
Okay.
Because wherever the users are, or whatever the users want, that's what ultimately the advertiser will want. And our job is to facilitate the technology that is required by the publisher to attract the best users, to attract the best advertisers, and make money. Right. So it's a little bit of a web, but
Everybody makes money together if it's all working.
Exactly.
The advertiser makes money from their advertising. The publisher makes money from selling the ads, and you make money from the facilitation. Everybody wins.
Exactly. And the more money that we make for the publisher, the more money they have to create better content and attract better users. So all of this kind of works in tandem. And in 2018, we launched video ads, because that is what we were, that is where the users were paying attention.
Yeah.
People wanted to consume more ads, but it would be in a better format if it was shown to them.
Yeah.
Right? Just having a banner does not work anymore.
No.
That's too much information in a small space. Video is more like,
Even more so now, right, with like TikTok and Reels and our short attention span.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then in 2020, we actually launched 2 products, which is Freakout OTT and Freakout Rich Media, both with the same goal.
What's OTT, sorry?
The OTT is over-the-top advertising, so your OTT platform. So Freakout OTT actually works with multiple OTTs across Southeast Asia. So everyone from your View to your Viki, VTV, iFlix, and help them monetize their audiences using ads again.
Understood. Yeah.
So in OTT, there are 2 main models, advertising-based and subscription-based. Netflix is mainly subscription-based.
Yeah.
And there are others that monetize or make money through ads. So Freakout OTT caters to that. And that was actually because that's where the audience was moving, that the users were moving.
Yeah.
And the same thing about the banner blindness comes in. When we talk about normal display was just not cutting it out for people. So we introduced Rich Media. Rich Media is more interactive, more engaging. It actually lets brands have a conversation and have a more open, like a 2-way conversation with the users. Right? So Freakout Rich Media was introduced, and then just recently we launched Freakout GP, which is a contextual advertising tool for YouTube.
Okay.
So we make it easy for advertisers to contextually target their users on one of the biggest advertising platforms, which is YouTube.
So what, I guess like a big growth strategy for you, especially in Southeast Asia, has just been following the user.
Yes.
Following the users. Where do they need to be? Where do they want to see ads? Where are they not going to be blind to us?
Yes. And where is it going to create a positive ad experience?
So you've been very product-led, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's always the best way to grow.
Right.
Any company, especially in your space, because you have to be where the users are, and the users are adapting constantly, which is why you said it's fast-paced, innovative industry, right? So what you talked about at the very beginning, you were talking about how you need to stay on top of like emerging trends. You want your team to also be a part of that and educating themselves, and then also bringing that up to you and educating you. What would you say is one trend that you've identified the most that is emerging right now in advertising?
I spoke about it. Contextual, I think, because everyone wants to have that balance between not being. I'll talk to you about a concept that I think is quite relevant in today's day and age. So there was a time where a lot of people were just buying ads. Then there came a time when people started worrying about something called brand safety, showing ads on safe content, right? Okay. Not wanting to be close to anything that's too negative.
Understood.
Right. Then they started caring about relevance and positive ad experience. So if you actually wrap them all into one package, what you get is something called brand suitability. Brand suitability is adding the brand safety to relevant, viewable, and making it a positive ad experience. When you can do that, then that's when you say that an ad was brand suitable, or a publisher was brand suitable. Right? For example, if you are a gamer, right?
Sure.
You don't always want to see a gaming ad.
No.
Right? When you are at work, you probably want to see something more related to, what you are looking for at that point in time. Or if you are actually watching news, you probably want to look at or you have a different kind of mindset that you're in. When you're watching maybe some kids' content, you don't want to see an ad at all.
Yeah, preferably not.
Right. But so different times, so when you add relevance to brand safety, that's when you get brand suitability, because that is where advertisers need to be right now. They don't just need to be safe. They want to be relevant. They want to have the users pay actual attention. Right? When you are consuming a content, you're in a better space to consume content about that particular thing that you're watching. So if you're watching how to improve your photography and you see a camera phone's ad, you are much more likely to interact with it, to remember it. And I think that concept is something that we are all trying to work towards. And contextual targeting is the way to get there. So that's why that would be, as a combination, these two are the emerging trend that I see.
Okay, it's really interesting. Because you were just talking about that, the relevance at the time. For example, if I'm at work, like you said, I'd rather work ads, and I would get, Monday.com and, all these different software platforms. But then I go home and I'm still getting them.
Exactly.
And I'm like, I'm switched off now. Would you leave me alone?
And the worst part is
the next advertiser should be talking to me, right? It shouldn't be the business related, because I'm, a business owner. It should be someone selling me an experience or whatever they want to try and sell.
If you're watching a video, if you're watching something,
a travel video.
Yeah, a travel video on Nat Geo.
It's not Monday.com.
Exactly. And the worst part is, because they are not contextually driven, but they are driven on the basis of what you recently saw or what you recently searched, you don't know when the affinity of a person towards something changes, right?
Yeah.
So if you were to then even take a trial for Monday.com, they would not realize that has happened.
So they'll still be
They'll still be showing you the Monday.com ad, which is even more frustrating. And I think that is when a lot of users get turned off by the brand.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, I really wanted to test this out, but now I'm not going to do it because they're so annoying.
It's like going to Amazon, buying, I don't know, some item on Amazon, and then getting repeatedly advertised for the exact same item you just purchased.
Exactly.
And that happens all the time.
And the sad thing about being in this space is, that how easily avoidable that is.
Yeah.
So that makes it even worse.
Yeah. So you were talking a little bit about a new product you're launching, GP.
Yeah.
So break that down for me. What's GP doing? You said it's a contextual intelligence tool, right? It's for YouTube. How does that work? How does a brand or a company start to leverage that for themselves?
So GP is actually an AI tool.
Okay.
So as I was talking about brand suitability, right? What's the way to achieve brand suitability on a platform like YouTube, where there are millions of videos available, billions being added on a daily basis? Especially because now YouTube has started deregulating a lot of things.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So YouTube earlier, you needed a certain number of followers, a certain number of watch hours to be able to monetize your videos. As of 2021, they made that threshold much lower. So now you just need 1,000 subscribers and 400 hours of watch time in order to monetize.
Yeah.
And that is just one viral video, right? And what do people do to get viral? Be as shady as they can. Right?
Controversial.
They want to be controversial. They want to create that buzz, right? And what will happen is brands will start showing ads on those kind of videos because they don't know better. Same thing happens actually as of 2023, March. YouTube allowed monetization of videos that have profanity in it.
Okay.
I mean, when I first heard it, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, there's no way that can happen.
Okay.
But if anyone, I mean, whoever's watching this and whoever, like if I'm talking to you as well, you can open your phone right now, type the first curse word that you can think of. Most likely you will see like a lot of videos overall.
Sure.
But you click on 3 and you'll see an ad at least in one of them. Right? And that is even more unsafe. But that is just the brand safety part of it. Now, the second layer of that, which is the relevance, is also very important, because when you match the relevance with brand safety, that is when your ad becomes memorable. That is when users are ready to take action, right? Their likeliness to actually make a purchase or take an action increases significantly. So GP will actually go through millions of videos. The AI platform will go through millions of videos and give an output of the videos that you should be targeting for your campaign.
So
and this is
it will look out for those swear words already for me.
Yes.
So that I'm not gonna, and it won't even give me those as options.
Right. There are two ways so there is a blacklist and a whitelist.
Okay.
So you give in, so on the basis of your campaign, your brand, you can have certain keywords that are given to the platform, and then there is already a preset list of negative or the negative categories. Plus, you can add your negative categories as well. So if you want to stay away from, say, the word COVID or any political alliances or whatever,
it will not touch those videos.
it will actually give you an output that is only of your target keywords.
Okay.
Right? So, and as it is with any AI, the output is as good as the input. So we really want to spend a lot of time on strategizing the right keywords to be inputted into the platform. But it actually works on a video ID level, which is it identifies individual videos that have relevance to your brand, to the objects that are inside the video, to the activities that are happening within the video, what is being spoken in the video. Right? I think the biggest challenge always has been to kind of identify what audio goes on. Right? It is in a podcast setting. There is nothing in the background that can tell you what we're talking about. Even the title and description will be quite brief. Right? But when you're listening, so our AI actually goes through all of that audio as well, and identifies what is the right video to advertise to. So we always say we want to help advertisers reach the right users at the right time, in the right way, with the right message.
Okay.
And I think that is what was the goal behind creating GP.
And I assume, the AI, everyone likes to throw around AI at the moment. Is the AI also then learning for me?
Yes.
So I had a successful campaign. It knows that was successful, and it's going to continue to pitch me, or not pitch me, but direct me in that direction.
No. So we have not built that into the AI for external communication. What we have built into it is if we see or if we notice any results, because even after the AI gives me an output list, we still have a human vetting all of that. Right? And if there are any incorrectly tagged videos, we will of course have a feedback loop that goes in, and then it'll identify what it did wrong in identifying that as a positive where it should have been a negative, and it'll keep on learning from there. So the machine learning happens on the back end of the AI in terms of the video recognition.
Okay.
But in terms of what's happening externally, that's a lot of human learning. So when we see someone who has a product that they want to advertise, we give our insights. We also use a GP as a discovery platform.
Of course.
Right? So we can actually take multiple use cases for the brand, whether they want to target maybe like the competitors, or whether they want to maybe open up new categories and say, explore what can I do with this by targeting this category, but not with the in terms of what they like, but what they're consuming.
Yeah.
So if someone's getting ready to camp, right? If they're watching videos about camping, how to set up their tent, and show them like, maybe an ad for dried snacks or food that can be easily carried, not really limited to shelf life.
Yeah.
They're more likely to consider that brand while they're preparing for their camping.
Yeah, makes sense.
But the dried food brand would never have actually kept campers as their primary target. So we use AI and GP to help
drive sales and impact a lot higher than just general advertising.
We like to talk about
Contextual.
brand awareness and purchase intent, because a lot of these companies are looking at YouTube as a awareness tool. We are trying to say that we can help you go from top of the funnel to somewhere in the middle of the funnel using GP, because we are showing the right people the right ad.
Yeah. So that's like a big impact to the industry, really. It's like being able to leverage platforms like YouTube for that middle of funnel effectively.
Yes.
Whereas it's been much harder in the past.
Yes. And most of the times when we are working, we have YouTube playing in the background.
Yeah.
Right? We're not even on the tab. We are not even looking at the screen. It's somewhere in the background, and there's an ad that comes up. We don't even bother opening the tab to skip the ad, because it's too much bother to actually
just let it run.
Stop what you're doing.
Just let it be.
Exactly. And that actually works negatively, because what happens is the YouTube algo thinks that you are interested. That is why it keep on showing the same ad multiple times, right? And the algo is actually designed for that. The YouTube algo is designed to show you ads that you're more likely to finish watching.
Yeah.
It's called view through rate.
Yeah.
Right? So its algo is actually defined for that purpose and showing you ads when you are least likely to skip. Unfortunately, that happens on most of the irrelevant videos, when you are at home, like, doing some chores and the music is playing, or some entertainment videos are playing, or,
background content.
Exactly.
Right.
So you're not actively watching the screen.
So that would give advertisers today wrong information.
And a very ill-spent marketing budget on YouTube.
And that's why GP can really help drive the right kind of spend.
Right.
And it goes all the way back to when you're talking about the billboards for ClickUp, like advertising just for 5 seconds
exactly
in the day, because we know that is, or 5 minutes. Those 5 minutes are the prime time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And or like, showing it in front of like, a office building that has a lot of agencies or a lot of their clients sitting there.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So have that targeted approach to have the right kind of impact.
Yeah. And we were talking a little bit about video and attention spans and things, and I actually go through phases of uninstalling Instagram and reinstalling it. I'm in my uninstall phase right now because it was literally yesterday. I'm learning Mandarin. I just finished a class, and then I was on my phone, and an hour and a half went by, and I was like, "Crap, what happened?"
Right.
So I was just like, I've got to remove it. So obviously, short form video is, people are addicted to it. We've got TikTok, we've got Reels. It all came from, we've got stories, we've got the Snapchat, all of this types of content now. How do you think that is impacting sort of customer and consumer engagement to brands now, where our attention span is 7 seconds?
Exactly.
Right.
So it is the sad reality of today that the attention span is shortening, right? And a lot of people do not want to watch the long form. But as I said, the core purpose of any marketer or a brand is to convey their story. A story cannot be conveyed in 7 seconds or 20 seconds or even 30 seconds for the matter. But I think marketers can leverage this short form content, or these users that are not really engaged with long form, to get them to, the key word over here is to get hooked, right? To convey part of the story, a compelling part of the story, to engage the user, to make them more curious about the brand.
The next part of the story.
Right? So there are multiple ways to do that. One is sequential ads, where you show you break down an ad into smaller parts and you show it one after the other. But the other and the more preferred option would be to just have them show them a teaser, a very spicy bit of what you want to convey to them, and then ask them to consume the long form if they want to know more, right? I think that bit of the story is very important. Again, the approach is always different.
It's also kind of, you're not trying to get the big yes, you're trying to just get a little yes. We tell you a little bit of the story, say yes to see more of the story, a bit more of the story, and then we're looking for the big yes of a purchase decision.
But also, earlier it was you needed to have a panel to see what kind of market insights there are, what kind of trends there are, what kind of people, what are people watching. Now you just go onto like Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, you'll see trending tabs, and you can very easily pick the same audio, pick the same style of making something, and brands are actually having very human moments, I would say, in order to connect with the audiences. And once the audiences like the brand, they're all right to consume longer forms of content.
So would you say it's the death of the jingle?
I would say so, but maybe
I still remember them.
Yeah, but again, they are coming back. It is a cycle. So right now, what people are doing is they are using jingles, but they are asking users to create their own interpretations of it. They're asking users to create their own dance moves from it. They're creating challenges around it, right? So they're making things go viral using the same jingle format, but it's not going to be the same formula. Because earlier the jingle was meant to be catchy. Now it's supposed to be a little trashy, a little engaging, a little like a bouncy, so that users can actually move. So the overall concept remains, but the way that they achieve this is changing. The core concept of jingle is just to make the brand memorable, and you can do that now.
Because I guess musicians are doing it all the time, where there's like on a TikTok challenge with just a little part of their single or something like that to try and drive sales of their track.
Exactly.
Right. I completely see it. So I guess sort of a strategy to approach is not trying to tell all your story in 7 seconds, but to use parts of your story to get people to the next form of content.
Keep on engaging them. Keep on.
Give and again, of the story.
You have to use the right mediums to approach them, right? So if someone is watching, is on stories, then you talk to them within the first 5 seconds. If someone is more consuming long format YouTube videos, then you can have a little bit of wiggle room and show them a 30-second ad or a 15-second ad. But if someone's watching, say, a TikTok or Reels or short forms, where the video itself is 30 seconds, the content video, then you want to show them a 6-second bumper ad. Right? So I think it depends on what medium you're on, who you're talking to, and how you want to engage them. So right user, right time, right message, right way. If you kind of combine all of this, you will be able to get your message across, you'll be able to get your story across.
And this is stuff that I think is going to be very difficult for Gen AI to touch for a long period of time, to actually really be great storytelling. Which is such a human thing since the dawn of time around the fire, right? We've been telling stories for millenniums.
True, but humans are quite predictable. I'll be quite honest. So when you look at trends, they repeat themselves. There are certain things that kind of come back. History repeats itself. Trends repeat themselves. So somewhere there is a pattern that is to be seen, and that is what AI is. It is a pattern recognition platform that will recognize patterns.
Go 5 years and we're all buggered.
Not really. I think there is. So I always say AI won't be replacing marketers. AI will be replacing marketers who do not know AI. So you will have smarter marketers who are now using AI for the heavy lifting. Right? They will be, they will be marketers who are better at giving prompts than actually designing things themselves. Or once you have an output from a prompt, they will have the capability of retouching it, making it more refined, right? So there are a lot of layers to this.
Look at that Coca-Cola ad, which is obviously one of the really beautiful examples of leveraging it. But somebody wrote that script. Somebody designed that story, that journey for the AI to take. And that's what I guess a lot of creators and creatives have to start to adjust themselves to. Because, there's a lot of, I think, fear-mongering happening, and content creators and copywriters first, of course, are being hit hard. Designers are getting hit right now by lots of tools getting so much better every day.
Yes.
In probably 6 months, the average graphics designer would be replaced by prompts.
Maybe.
Right? Maybe. Yeah. Depending on what kind of content they're creating. So people have to re-educate themselves to start being able to be excellent prompt engineers, right?
Yes.
And can bring that creative marketer human part and then apply it to your prompt.
Exactly. I think even historically, I think graphic designers or content writers that have really excelled are ones that actually put their own twist to what they're creating.
Yeah.
And that is still not possible. And AI can do, as I said, if it's a simple thing like, a polar bear sitting with a bottle of Pepsi or Coca-Cola for that matter, it's easy for an AI to generate that, right?
Done.
But to say that, it is like, what are they doing? How are they interacting? Is it a angry expression? Is it a soft expression? All of these things are more human, as you said, and that will require some level of creativity. It'll require a different thought process. And you will definitely need to adapt. Everyone needs to adapt, whether it's us on the strategy side, which also is a lot of it is getting replaced. Right? Because, what are the ways to do this? And you have 5 different ways, so that they don't need me to now do the research and come back to them. But if you actually look at how it'll be used, how it'll be leveraged, it'll still be done by creative people.
It's something we're trying to do internally at the moment, is start getting our creative people to start using these tools as a part of their job. We're doing it from, of course, innovation. We want to generate more margins and so on. But it's logical for them because they need that for their career as well. Because it's coming whether you like it or not. I went to a Gen AI event not too long ago, and I think it was like, it's already here, so either get on board or get left behind.
Correct. I mean, I think it is scary for us in the 30s, where we have to be more, we have already decided what we are doing in life. I think the 18-year-old, the 20-year-olds who now have a lot of time left in front of them, they have so many options available and what they want to do, right? So we have to adapt. They have to just choose. Right? And I think investing in yourself, investing in your education in terms of the emerging trends is something that everyone should do.
Maybe it sounds like as a part of your company culture, or specifically your team culture.
Yes, I think there are a lot of initiatives within Freakout as well. So we have something called FO College, where we have constant knowledge sharing sessions. We also have set aside a separate budget for anyone who wants to upskill themselves, and they can claim it back from the company if it's related to their job or even not. So there are certain, in certain cases, managers will and can make exceptions if an employee wants to do something that's a little bit more out of their job scope, but is still relevant to the overall industry. So it is definitely something that we pursue. Our motto, our core value is give people work that requires a person, right? And we definitely think that everything related to advertising requires a person in some form or way. We can definitely use tools, and we encourage people to use tools. If a machine can do your job, then don't do it, right? Have that machine do it. But then you need to basically drive the strategy. So GP as a platform can go through millions of videos, right? Which is something that a human would take a long time to do. But it does not require a human. What requires a human is listening to the brief, understanding the brand, understanding where the brand wants to be, and creating a keyword list that reflects that. And putting that in.
Leveraging that to do it. I think that's a really, really good place to end. That if a robot can do it, let it do it. Let the humans focus on the human-driven activities. And let's engage our team to upskill themselves as well.
Empower them.
And empower them to upskill themselves to grow in this ever-changing, fast-paced, innovative world, especially your industry. Mo, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming on.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll see you on the next episode.